eVito, electrifying deliveries.
The Mercedes Benz Vito, the workhorse for the many, and usually diesel. Well, this one's slightly different. This is pure electric.
Indeed, it's one of the first forays into commercial electrification for Mercedes Benz.
It is. And one interesting thing is there's no smaller van now. But that makes sense, because when you put an electric powertrain in a vehicle, you obviously need a place to put batteries. Now with a van, it's a bit different because it's built to carry cargo. Therefore, it made sense to get rid of the shorter one.
And because it's fully electric, there's no vehicle excise duty or pollution charges either.
And it starts at around £39,000 and you can get a pure or a progressive. Our model is the L2 Pure.
And it costs just under £42,500 without VAT.
Now Mercedes Benz have been clear as crystal on this van will not suit everybody. It has a 93-mile range, which, okay, if you're going to be going up and down the motorway, you're going to guzzle that quite quickly. But it's perfect for local deliveries and things like that. You can also regen. And bear this in mind, this van costs as little as 2p per mile to run, has an 8-year battery warranty, you have a usable 35 kilowatt per hour battery capacity, and an 85 kilowatt motor. Charging. Well, there is no rapid charge option, but it will charge on Type 2.
And to see if the eVito is the right move for you, there's even an app.
The Mercedes Vito is one of the most recognisable vans on the road today. And the eVito, as you've noticed, doesn't differ very much at all. You've got a few electric idents on the side, but that's about it. But why change something that's this good? One interesting point is Mercedes have opted to keep the grille, especially as this is an EV, but it doesn't need to cool. You've got automatic lights, rain sensing wipers, fogs down here in the front bumper, and you can get an optional headlamp assistant. And the eVito doesn't just come as a panel van, you can get a tourer as well, and a range of metallic paints, so you can make it look really snazzy. On our model, we have colour-coded bumpers. These are an option. This is a Pure, and the Progressive has more things on it, but you can option up the Progressive items onto your Pure, so you don't need to pay the full whack. You can literally pay $39,000 and add bits as you need them. We've got 17-inch steel wheels on ours, and we've got these rather smart wheel trims. And if you've noticed, we've got a mid-range profile as well, so that'll make it nice and comfortable on the road. You've got an electric ident here with the E in blue, roof bars which will carry up to 150 kilograms. There is no keyless entry, but you can lock the cargo bay separately and leave the cabin open. Very handy. You also have 2 sliding doors. At the back of the van, you've got a high-level brake light, an eVito ident there, and you can get an optional reversing camera as well. And here's the major difference between the diesel Vito and the eVito. Charging it, you have to open the door, then open the flap, pull out the rubber bung, get your cable. This is Type 2, charges at 7.5 kilowatts maximum, takes about 6 hours for a charge. This is the free charger and it's Type 2. Open the flap, plug in, it'll go green. At the moment it shows an unlock. That goes off and this illuminates here. And the green light signifies it's charging. You can see we've got 55% of our battery, 51-mile range, it says kilowatts and charge on the right hand side, and the battery will be full at 3:45. Time to unplug. You hit unlock on the key fob, that then releases the cable. You then open the door, put your cap in, and then close that, close your door, and then unplug from the charger. And there you are, ready to stow. Nice and easy. It's 2:48, and you can see we've now got 91% of battery, which has given us an 84-mile range. That's impressive.
Mobility-wise, it's never going to be as easy getting into a van as it is for a car. And on a good day, I can manage getting into it quite easily. The doors aren't always going to open as wide as you would like, but just bear that in mind. And I have to say, I would like to have seen grab handles. I could also have done with having a grab handle here on the door, as you see in some pickups. One thing that helps me get in is this reinforced anti-slip step. And I'm in. It would have been easier with grab handles, however I use the steering wheel and the door's not that far out to reach to shut either. It's instantly recognisable as a Vito. It's hardly changed at all, even the cluster is similar. Very comfortable seats. I like the fact they have an armrest, that does help my mobility, but more on the configuration of that later. You can option it up as well. You can get different audio, you can even get Becker system that was the staple in the C124 that we have with Lady Dorothy. There's also packages for the mirror and anti-theft. You've got all-round electric windows, which being a van means 2, and you operate your door mirrors here. And here's your rotary dial to control your lights, but you can adjust the height, and you've got your fogs on the left. Unlike our C124, it's a foot-operated parking brake, and the release handle is here. And as it's a Mercedes, your shifter is here, and you've got park, reverse, neutral and drive. Very old-school steering wheel. There's nothing on it, but you do get the option of adding cruise control. Behind this, you've got your cluster. You've got your speed on the left, fuel computer in the middle, and on the right, it shows you how you're using your battery. Your fuel computer will also give you information and updates whilst charging. There are lots of options when it comes to the infotainment system, and it comes with an Audio 10. We have the uprated Audio 40, which gives you DAB, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It also has Pro Connect, which gives you updates on repairs and servicing, and is always looking for the nearest charging point. Or you can choose the Becker system that gives you Map Pilot. You've got your hazard button here, and your driving modes here, Comfort, Economy and Economy Plus. Temp-matic, climate control, with rotary dials, and shortcut buttons for demister and etc. You have 2 USB ports here and an old school cigar lighter here, which will double as a 12-volt socket. When it comes to practicality, I'm 5'3" and have plenty of headroom and plenty of legroom. Ben's also been driving this van very comfortably and he's 6'3". We have the comfort driver seat, which is an adjustable armrest, heated seats, buttons on the door and 4-way lumbar support. The co-driver's bench seat can be replaced with a comfort seat as well and will give you lumbar support and heating. There is reach and rake adjustments in the steering wheel. It's as robust as any Vito, hard plastics everywhere. It would have been nice to see a padded armrest here, but you do get airbags for the driver and the passenger. There's bucket loads of storage in here, but it doesn't have overhead storage. It does have lots of storage in the dash though, and cup holders either side, and it also comes with an oddments pot. Great sized door bins, you can get a bottle of water in there, sarnies, chocolate, and there's even a space there for books, although that might be my preference. There's also cubbies on either side here. There's also an ample sized glove box, which is lockable. And you know I mentioned the anti-theft package. A cool feature of that is a window here, meaning you can keep an eye on your cargo. Very cool. You also have well points if you fancy doing a conversion.
The L2 model that we have allows for 923 kilograms. Meaning I can get a few crates in here. The width of the loading space is 1,685 mil. 3 crates fit very nicely. Each door opens 180. And to open this door, you just simply pull this in. Load length is 2,831 mil, which is 6 metre cubed. That just gives you an idea of capacity. You'll see it's ply lined up to this height, but you can opt for right up to the roof line. You can also get LED strip lighting and different flooring. You also have a handy scissor jack here. Interestingly, the L3 can't carry as much weight, but it makes sense because it's a bigger van, so it has to carry more van. It'll carry 898 kilograms as opposed to this, which carries 923. The L3 dimensions are 3,061 mil load length, width is 1,685 mil, and the height is 1,391, which is the same as the L2. And on the L3, the payload is 6.6 metre cubed. Picture this, you're a courier, a bit like I was about 20 years ago. You've delivered your package, you jump back in your cab and you suddenly think, have I shut my rear doors? Well, if you check the screen, it'll actually tell you whether your doors are open or shut. It also works for both side doors. Welcome to the latest model of Vito, the eVito. Yes, a fully electric powertrain. We have an 85 kilowatt electric motor, but this van is sensible and spends most of its time running on 70 kilowatts to economise. It also has a 41 kilowatt per hour electric battery, usable 35. As for range, you've got 93 miles. Take it into the city and that'll increase to realistically between 105 and 110 miles. And can it shift? Well, yes, it can. Now it doesn't really have an electric sci-fi noise, but it does have a bit of a whir. And if you're wondering, it's front wheel drive. It's 114 brake horsepower and has 295 newton meters of torque.
Another feature I find absolutely brilliant, it'll operate up to minus 30 degrees Celsius and it has a fully galvanised body.
Now Mercedes Benz have been really clear from the start saying that this is not going to suit everybody. They've even developed an app that will look at your journeys and see if the eVito will actually suit you. And let's face it, most van drivers buy diesel, and there's a good reason for that. Economy, bulletproof, and of course, they're workhorses, which means they last. Saying that, this gets an 8-year battery warranty, doesn't it, Annabelle?
It does. It's fantastic value.
And the clever thing about this van is it may have 93 miles of range, but you can recoup up to 15 miles with the regen. Speaking of regen, there's 4 levels and it's operated using the paddles on the back of the steering wheel.
Another huge benefit of this is because it's zero emissions, there's no VED and there's no pollution charge.
And yeah, that's the thing, you can drive it around London, can't you?
Yeah.
And not have to pay congestion. It's perfect for those who do local deliveries,
multi-drops, and if you get the optional roof bars, you can carry up to an extra 150 kilograms. Very functional.
Yeah. The steering goes where you point it, feels nicely weighted, lightens up when you're doing manoeuvres. Yeah. Feels very well under control all the time.
And as this is a van, there is going to be a bit of body roll, but it does get less when you underload.
Well, yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? And the question that you're likely to be asking yourself is, why should I change from my diesel Vito to an electric Vito? Well, it drives very similarly to the diesel variant.
Well, in terms of styling, capacity, interior, it's all pretty much Vito standard.
As it's an electric van, you've got 2 pedals like an automatic, and your shifter is on the steering wheel. We're currently registering 50% of our battery, which is giving us a 47-mile range. Now if I back off the accelerator, you can see the regen is pretty strong, and it will stop the vehicle virtually, but then it will creep, which is handy for traffic.
And that's it, regen in itself is beneficial because of course as soon as you take your foot off the accelerator, it starts to put power back into the battery.
Well, that's it, you've got 4 settings. You've also got driving modes as well: Comfort, Eco and Eco Plus. But if you're on the motorway, you could go the opposite and virtually turn off your regen. And this is how well it goes up a steep hill. See, we've added another camera now. It zips up this steep climb with no effort at all. And we're only registering 50 on the economy power meter. Now when I was driving it at around 70 miles an hour on the motorway the other day, it also wasn't at the top of the bar either, which is good news. Now you can choose to get one limited to 56, and if you think you're going to be doing more motorway journey, you can actually get the 56 lifted to 74, 76, something like that. And it can launch out of a junction. Quite an agile van actually.
I would have liked the addition of a grab handle here or here, especially being, as you were saying, agile there, just to give us a passenger or a co-driver a little bit more stability. But it's very comfortable overall.
That's it. When I was a delivery driver, I wanted a van that wasn't just boring, get in, put foot on accelerator. I wanted something that was a little more engaging. And that you get with this electric van.
Well, it's got it in spades.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It really, really is.
If you know you're going to be going up some steep climbs, you just put it in the highest regen and you'll recoup, as I mentioned, up to 15 miles.
And for a daily commute or a daily drop, that's brilliant.
It is, yeah. That's a couple more journeys at least, isn't it? It's a comfortable ride. Yes, it is a bit bouncier if you haven't got a load, but that stands to reason. Yeah, interesting. We're remaining good traction there, even going through mud. And yes, this is a road, not a field.
He's picking blackberries. With this being a van, you would expect more noise in the cabin. However, it's very well insulated and quite quiet.
Well, that's what you want, especially as a van driver spends, what, minimum of 8 hours in one? You've got anti-roll too. How many miles we can recoup? We've got 42 mile range left. Let's let's use regen and see what it goes up to. So you can travel along at about 20 miles an hour and you're about a quarter of the way into your economy bar, which means we're not actually recouping, but the range isn't going down either. Now what I've got to stop is me blipping it. Still at 46% and 42 miles. Postman Pat would be over the moon with this, wouldn't he?
But what would the black and white cat think of it?
Love it.
Exactly.
It's quiet. You can sleep all the time. Still 42. It's still 42 and we've done well over a mile now. So yeah, if you're going to drive it economically, 20 to 25 miles an hour, which is perfect for thin roads like these. You're going to either not use miles or recoup. But that's enough of that.
Lippage!
And because of electric powertrain, instant acceleration. It's not the fastest EV, but it's a van. When you put a load in, the performance difference is going to be negligible.
It's satisfying to know that you can get out of a tight spot or move in and out of traffic easily.
It is.
When you've got
Clear.
lots of deliveries to make. Getting the job done. That's a big wagon. And it's pink.
It is.
Okay.
Oh, spinach.
You've been wanting to get one of those all week, haven't you?
Well,
You finally did it.
Then. The thing is, when we blip the accelerator then, we've still only used the 2 miles. Let's see if creep mode will climb the hill. Yes.
Creepily.
So
we are slowly creeping up the hill.
If you so need to creep up a hill, you can. And all that messing around, we've still got a 35-mile range. Great brakes, but Mercedes do always have very good stopping power. Very versatile, very capable, and quite engaging.
And with a 3-year unlimited mile warranty,
It makes sense.
it does.
The eVito might not suit every commercial need, but if you make deliveries in your local area, this may just be the van for you. With a 93-mile range and up to 15 miles of regen per charge, the eVito costs as little as 2p a mile to run. Now that's cost-effective versatility.